There is often confusion when the Fed hikes interest rates, how this relates to mortgage rates. So there's three really things I want to talk about today that I think are important to know. One is when the Fed hikes rates or makes any kind of rate change for the Fed rate, they've been talking about it for a while. They are oftentimes just doing what's already expected. So the market has had time to move money around and the market has already reacted in anticipation of what they're going to do. So when they do what everybody's expecting, it's almost a little bit more of a relief. It's when they do what's something unexpected, or sometimes the comments that follow when they make the announcement, that investors are really paying attention. The second thing is you have to remember this Fed rate is a short-term interest rate, an overnight interest rate for banks to borrow from one another. So it's completely different than a 30-year fixed mortgage rate. So things that are directly impacted by, let's say, the Fed raising the Fed rate 0.25% is anything tied to prime. So your credit cards, home equity lines of credit, which are basically, lines of credit, just like a credit card, it's just secured by your home. I think that's where the mortgage confusion comes into play. Those things are going to be directly impacted by the Fed rate going up because they're variable rate loans. The third thing is, okay, well, what really is impacting interest rates, or what are we paying attention to? And the biggest thing right now, and the reason that the Fed has been in a raising rates, it's been going through rate hikes, is they're combating inflation. So this really, I mean, I've learned more about inflation in the past 18 months than I've had the 10 years prior, for sure, is that's really what's being focused on. So as long as these Fed rate hikes are doing what's intended, which is to combat inflation, that's why everybody believes that later this year, we're going to see long-term mortgage rates coming down. Now, in summary, what do we do with this information? I think you do have to be cautious about saying, oh, okay, well, let's just wait then. We'll wait for inflation to come down. Mortgage rates will come down. Is if you are, or you have a friend or a client that is thinking of trying to buy a home, is you still want to go back to the fundamentals. Don't try and time the buy over the perfect rate environment, because it really comes down to the fundamentals of the house. You don't want to miss the opportunity to buy a house today because you're waiting for mortgage rates to come down. When mortgage rates come down, there's going to be additional buyers or additional competition that you may not have right this moment. So if you're really trying to time your buy around mortgage rates, you may miss a perfect opportunity. If you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out.